head in the sky. Giant Man, Giant Man, and Ant-Man. Today we are looking at the Haslab Giant Man. Is this thing worth the price? I don't know. Let's stay tuned and find out. Ladies and gentlemen, normally I don't take down the arcade, but today we got something really big and it can't be contained within the arcade. And therefore, out of the Toy Foolery Arcade, we present to you the Haslab Ant-Man. I hope it's worthwhile. I see a whole bunch of jibber jabber on the internet about how the eyes are not straight and that the hands are super stiff. We can fix the stiffness in the hand, but we can't fix the eyes not being straight. So let's crack this bad boy open. Hopefully it's not as bad as I think. It is in a giant box. We will be comparing it to my Galactus, as I do not have the Sentinel from the Haslab. Also, hopefully we'll be getting some other big toy soon, and you can see in the background behind the Ant-Man, or the Giant Man, that I do have a bunch of Build-A-Figures in the sky. The box towers over it. So we always go through our two things. First thing, hit the like button, subscribe, join the full force, and secondly, let's see if this box is better than your mom's. This box better than the box he was held in. On the front, we get giant size Avengers. I love the cover art. This is the one that I selected. My only complaint is that the emphasis looks like it's less on Giant Man and just the Avengers in general. And obviously this was because it was the 50th anniversary of the Avengers, so they were kind of excited about this. But I would have liked something that was more pronounced for just this character alone and not everyone. I do like the fact that they do have Janet on his side and not down here with the rest of the Avengers. On the side, we get everyone but Giant Man, which is a weird choice. We get, okay. And then on the back, this is super cool. You can use this as a play set. Take some cool photos of him walking down the street, which is kind of mirrors the front of it, just so you don't see the bottom. And then another one, and yeah. Am I a fan of this? I like this artwork because he's so big in it, but once again, he seems to be sharing the kind of same amount of space. Even though he's bigger than everyone, he's sharing the same amount of space with Cap and the rest of them. So it's kind of weird for me. If it's supposed to be a Giant Man toy, let Giant Man stand out and be the most pronounced thing. When you look at this, yes, you look at the top and it draws your eyes to the Giant Man Avengers. You see giant size Avengers and you see Giant Man, but your eye immediately drops down to Captain America just because of the color choice for him, and the red, white, and blue is so much pronounced. And then your vision spreads out, so your eyes go here, then stays here, and it stays down here with all these other characters. And you can see that with the artwork on the side, that's kind of what they were going for, which is kind of silly because it is the Giant Man Haslab. It just, you want to focus on Giant Man, not, oh, look, all these really cool characters at the bottom. Oh, and then there's Giant Man. Just a pet peeve of mine, something that I wouldn't have done. I would have just made it Giant Man and maybe Janet, because then that way with him and Janet on it, your focus is on Giant Man and Janet, not the rest of the Avengers. I don't even think I picked this one. I have to go back to my emails because now I'm confused. Just from a marketing standpoint, this seems stupid. But the fans picked it because you get Cap and the rest of the people. Let's crack this thing open and find out.
Oh, what's in the box?
And boy, were they not kidding when they said that this thing was going to be pretty bare bones. We get this really awesome Giant Man, which towers over all the Build-A-Figures, which means it towers over the original Giant Man, which is fantastic. We get his little diddly winks. diddlywinks. We get one eye, one face, which looks really creepy without the rest of his face on. But looking to the left, we get a pair of angry eyes looking kind of straight, but not really. Looking kind of down-ish and to the right. It could just be that my eyes are cockeyed and a little fakakis, but I guess that's straight enough. I don't know why that's not on his face as is. I think that might help with me seeing his perception by putting it on there. So that's also something that's a little weird, is that the eyes they only snap into place, at least with mine, and with the zombie head. And of course, we got the stretch goal of the zombie head, which I'm very excited for, because this is one of the things that I really wanted. I really love the detail that the nose is partly bitten off and his face is broadened, so that's really cool. And we get Ant-Man. Like I said, originally they told us that it was going to be bare bones, and that's why it was such a low price. And for the price, I think that was, at the time, was almost just a little bit more expensive than what the Toy Biz Giant Man Build-A-Figure was going for. So it was kind of a no-brainer. You get a bigger toy with swappable faces, a little bit more articulation, a newer buck. It was a no-brainer, but there's a little QC issues, such as the face, makes it a little disappointing. But let's check out the design on this Ant-Man and see what we paid for. So Ant-Man looks really good. You can see lots of detail and they did a really good job with the paint. You can see detail within the arm. You can see detail within the arm where it's painted. So you can show the emphasis on like his triceps and his biceps. It makes a really good emphasis on the muscles just by the way that they're painted. You have little brown and black highlights in here to give that kind of look for the striations of the muscles through his suit. And the same thing on his back. You can see that in his upper back, you can see that he has it around his traps. You can see the emphasis there as well, and you guys probably can't because of how tall he is, and I'm still not set up for this. Steering you out, and don't fall backwards, because you breaking my camera would make me super pissed. Yep, but that's what you want to do. Stand still, and you want to fall forward. Okay, that's the best I'm gonna do. And then that's the same thing. He is basically red plastic, but he does have highlights. Oh my God. Oh my God. Don't fall. Don't fall in any direction. Just stay still. This is scary. So he is fairly decent in the design. I really do like the way the faces came out, even though his smiley face is super creepy. His regular face is fine. And yeah, this is pretty decent. But let's see if this guy gets, well, you know what? Let's do an extreme close-up so you guys can see some of the details that I'm looking at. So still looking all the way up at him, you can see that we're going to just get closer. Extreme close-up, handheld edition. As you can see, really good detail in the face. So what you can see from the extreme close-up, his eyes are a little off. Definitely going to be contacting Hasbro to get some new ones. But detail around him is really good. All around. Normally I don't have to be up this high, but even with the extreme close-up, this guy is massive and you're just getting bits and pieces of him. But as you can see, just really good detail all around. Not a bad figure, especially for the price point. So not too bad. But before we go to see if this guy can squat, let's see how he stacks up next to his good pal. Galactus.
Here's Giant Man, and here is Tiny Giant Man. And as you can see, design-wise, almost identical. The belts are the same, the shorts are the same, and the only difference is that this Giant Man has texture on his pants and his clothes, where the Tiny Giant Man is actually just plastic, just smooth plastic. So superior Giant Man.
As you can see, Galactus still towers over Ant-Man. He is way bigger than him, so that's really cool. And they still have the same articulation points in the hands and the fingers, so maybe be a little less impressed. But as you can see, towering over Ant-Man, maybe by a good 3-4 inches. So still not to scale, but still pretty cool. You can still see Galactus's head over there. But now that we're seeing that he is still smaller than the main man Galactus, let's see if this guy can squat. So Ant-Man can do a T-pose because he has good movement in shoulders, very ratchety, has upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, nice. He has articulation in each of his fingers and they are super stiff, and I'm going to have to warm them up because I do not want to break them. So some of the fingers move a little bit better than others. Yep, that's going to have to be warmed up. None of his fingers are moving even at the knuckle point, so I'll have to warm that up. That's sad. None of his, let's go back down. None of his fingers are moving up. So Giant Man can look up this high, not very much. He has articulation in his fingers. Do not move them in the cold. That's why I'm not forcing his fingers, because he's been in a very cold room and his fingers will fight and break. But he does have a upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows. They are very ratchety. Swivel in his shoulder. Not a butterfly joint, but oh, actually, he does have a butterfly joint. Ah, nice. So we can get those hands up. Leg is gonna fight me a little bit, but double jointed knees. And he is in a squatting position really easily. Swivel in his boots, and he has toe articulation, so he is winning when it comes to that. Can he superhero land? Let's try. And I know you won't be able to tell because I'm holding him up, but he is actually missing, if you can look at it, his hand is not touching his knee, which means that he is missing it. But I kind of see that in how the diaphragm is and his strap is keeping him from reaching it. So I'm wondering, if you take the strap off, will he get better range? Very plausible, but Let's talk money.
Man, damn, I can't afford it. My bad. I'm just trying to
Let's
help
talk
you
money.
out.
So Giant Man is currently going for about $400 on the aftermarket. So the original price was $200. If you guys didn't get it the first time around, unless you're a diehard Giant Man fan, I say don't get it. It's way too expensive now to purchase it. Is it worth $400? No. $200? Questionable, because the QC with the eye issue, which a lot of people had, where Ant-Man, Giant Man didn't have his, he had only 3 sets of eyes, and 2 of them were exactly the same, so that he basically had the same expression regardless of what face you put on him. Was kind of silly. Also, I didn't mention it, but the way you switch the mask, I'm gonna imagine that we're going to put a lot of wear and tear on the plastic on the bridge of the mask if you change it out a lot, which I'm probably I'm going to put it into I'm going to put in the zombie mode because that eye is actually correct, and then that's it, and just leave it by my what if shelf. But if you constantly switch out these masks, you're going to put a lot of strain on the plastic here, and it's going to be stretched out and eventually break. So that's something else to be concerned with, especially for $200. And then especially if you're getting aftermarket and you're paying $400, then that's absolutely insane. And you do not want to spend that kind of money and have a toy that is going to break on you eventually, especially if you play with your toys. But the articulation on this guy is really good. Way better than Toy Biz. The question is it worth the upgrade? I say no. If you have the Toy Biz, stick with it. That is a fun toy, and unless they redo Apocalypse and they redo Fin Fang Foom, it's kind of cool just to keep your original set. Anyway, guys, let's wrap him up. Let's wrap up the Ant-Man Haslab. As for the box, this is not the box art I chose, but it's actually really decent. I think that the way it's shaped, it looks like it's focused more on Cap and the Avengers and not on Giant Man, so boo. As for what comes in the box, we get Giant Man, a couple of faces, and one set of eyes, two set of eyes, because one of the set of eyes are exactly the same. So the design for Ant-Man is actually really good. It's basically the 6-inch figure, but scaled up with a lot of detail added to his bicep, tricep, and all his muscle striations, as well as giving him a pliable strap for his chest. For the ability to move, this thing's actually fairly nimble, even though it has a lot of ratchet points. It actually moves very well. It has articulation in the fingers, has articulation in the legs, really good articulation in the torso. So it's actually a really decent moving toy. And as for price, if you didn't get it when it first launched at $200, you are SOL, because this thing is probably going for crazy on the aftermarket. I'm not even going to look it up. But at the $200, it's actually absolutely worth it. And for my final score, I'm getting Giant Man a 6 out of 8. It's decent price, but I think the biggest issue is that you probably could have stuck with your Toy Biz Build-A-Figure and been happy. Not really that much of an improvement. You're still here? Oh, well, I'll catch you in the next toy review. Peace.